Future Talk Radio. You're in to all things music.
The song Ghetto, G period, H period, E period, T period, T period, O period. Greatness happens even though there's oppression.
You know,
that means something to me. I like to write songs that I would be proud to hear my nephew humming. I want to be proud of the things that I put out into the world.
Welcome to Jackie's Groove. Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertoni.
Hey everybody, I'm Jackie Bertoni. This is Jackie's Groove. I'm your man in the mirror today. It is Wednesday, May the 24th. Guys, I'm beside myself. I am so excited because I don't know this guest that's on the show today personally, but I know her music. I know her talents. I've had a crush, and Eric, her husband, and my wife Caprice, forgive me for being blatant, but this girl was fine and is still fine beyond belief. I mean, the looks go with the voice, and that song, "The Man in the Mirror," was a massive hit worldwide by Mr. Michael Jackson. And I've heard so many different variations. I had a good friend of mine on the show last year, Tony Sucar, in which he played tribute to Michael on a Latin version called "Unity." And his vision of "Man in the Mirror" was stupendous, for the lack of a better word. So with that said, kids, I want everybody to welcome with open arms and open ears to Jackie's Groove. Please welcome Miss Siedah Garrett. Siedah, welcome, honey. Welcome to Jackie's Groove.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here. I'm happy that we're going to be talking about some things that are relevant to us both and to many, many others like us. So I'm excited.
Absolutely. And I just wanted to verify with Siedah before we went on the air that it was okay. I mean, there's no mystery. The industry knows Jackie Bertoni and, my years and legacy in music for 30 plus years, but they also know that I am a patient of multiple sclerosis. I was diagnosed back in 1996. And the importance of today's show is obviously promotion for Siedah, but it's also to make people aware of what's going on. She just attended. Siedah just go ahead.
It's Siedah, by the way. I'm sorry.
Siedah. I even wrote that down here in phonetically, and I've got just forgive me on that, girl. I'm going to call you. I'm going to steal from Q. I'm going to call you Sid, if that's okay.
That's okay with me.
All right, girl. So here's my musical sister, Siedah, on the line right now. But what we have in common, not just music, we have a bunch of mutual friends: Lynn Fittimont, Melanie Taylor. These are all my girls. But what we have in common, fortunately or unfortunately, Sid was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis.
About 5 years ago, actually. Yeah.
Okay. And I just wanted to educate those listeners out there, and in which I'm paid graciously by Pfizer and Serono to use my fame, if you will, to talk to the others that are inflicted with this disease. And it's a disease, and said if you were ever diagnosed with any white mass disease, this is the one you want. Why? It's the most livable. I've had mine since 1996. Yeah. I do have little crap here and there, but who doesn't? You don't have to have MS to have a shitty day. I know a lot of very healthy, miserable people in my life, and I'm sure you do too. Mm-hmm. And I just want to tell you, girl, this is not a death sentence. This is just a simple bump in the road. And as with anything in life, the bumps in the road depends on how you choose to drive your car. So you want to get educated. You want to be proactive. Yeah. And what you don't want to do is you don't want to do a lot of reading, because a little bit of knowledge is a dangerous thing. A lot of it could be debilitating. And the fact of the matter is, you got it at a good age. We'll talk more about that, and we'll get more involved in that. But I want to spend a lot of time here on the greatness of your music and your writing and your ability to bring joy throughout the world. And so with that said, whatever you can do with your fame, God knows you have enough of it, to lend your voice. You did it with Nancy Davis.
Yes.
That's how I saw the photo with you, Q, David Foster. And when I saw that you were diagnosed with MS, I wasn't able to make the show, and just because I was out. But my good friends of mine in Chicago were the guests that night. And but when I read that you were diagnosed, I said, I got to reach out. I've got to reach out because
I'm certainly glad you did, because that night, like I said, I've had this disease. I was diagnosed over 5 years, almost 6 years ago now, and I think I've had it for much longer than I realized, because I didn't know what it was, because with the kind of MS I have, it shows itself in different forms and in different parts of your body. So I couldn't connect all the dots, because it was always a different thing. Neck ache, backache, headache, my leg is numb, my fingers are tingling, different things. I couldn't figure it out. So, but my diagnosis came, and it literally devastated me, of course. But I find that I'm physically active, and like you, if you looked at me, you wouldn't know I was sick. And I came out to the world that night at Nancy's Race to Erase MS event. And when I said to the audience, before I sang to them that night, I sang a song called Carry On. It's my power song, Before I sang, I mentioned to the audience my diagnosis, and there was a huge audible gasp from the audience as I said that. And I wanted to say to them, and I didn't think about it until after I got off stage, I wanted to say to them, now you know how you were thinking about me 5 minutes ago? Why are you thinking about me differently now that I've told you I have MS? I'm still the same person. I'm still the same as I was 5 minutes ago. But now you're looking at me like I'm a sick person, and you're treating me like I'm handicapped in some way. And do you really think that's what they thought? And other than the fact that you were there, and you are now a brother and sister in this conundrum called MS, and but it wasn't only people with MS in the audience. I mean, there are many healthful people there as well. And I just think when people hear that you have a dis-ease, they start treating you like you're sick. And even though you don't, like you, I feel very healthful. I know that my issues are being managed, and when things happen, I'm not concerned, because I know what it is and I know how to handle it. Before I didn't. I just said, "Oh my God, why is my leg numb? What's going on? Why do I wake up and my whole shoulder is stiff? I couldn't put it together." But once I found out what was going on, I'm on a healthy food regimen, as I've always been. But I know that physical activity is very important. And I found that I can't run. When I had an issue with my leg going numb, and I had drop foot for a while, and I was using a cane for a while, it was very scary. Are you right or left? What's more of the? Are you more affected on your right side or your left side? Or are you equal? It seems to me that I'm affected on my right leg my left arm. Is your foot rolling when you're up and you're being active? Do you find your right foot rolling to the outside? That I don't. Only when I'm very, very fatigued, and I can feel the onset of some kind of episode. At one point, I was at I don't know if it was an Oscar show or a Grammy show, but I remember being in heels, being able to walk in heels, but my husband had to carry me out because I couldn't walk on my heels. It was like I was trying to put my foot in my heel properly, but my shoe was already on. Exactly. And sweetheart, understand one important factor too, and understand the true meaning of the word exacerbation.
And a real exacerbation is something that lasts over 24 hours that is not, and I'm talking about the shoulder soreness or the foot numbness. It's a true exacerbation of something almost like an aftershock of an earthquake. That's it. So don't be I don't want to use the word hypochondriac, but don't be afraid. I journal every night. And I've been journaling every night for the last 21 years. And you know what I love? And you know what I love to do, girl? At the end of the year, I look back and I smile because it's all. Some things have gotten better, some things have gotten slower. But the fact of the matter is, if you lay down for any disease, you might as well just go ahead and jump off a cliff. and the bottom line is, you just got to. And please be aware. And I'm going to say this wholeheartedly: Pfizer and Serono. Hate when I say this, but here it is, kids. There's more profit in the disease than there is in the cure. And I am definitely, people who know Jackie know that I'm not a defeatist person at all. I look shit in the face, excuse my French, and I go through it. But there's times when this disease, as you said, as I use the term also, can get the better half of us. And you know what you have to do, girl? You have to unplug. You have to say, you know what? I'm not going to go out today. I'm going to have to reschedule this interview. I'm going to have to do this, that, or the other. You have to take care of yourself. That's the first and foremost. Please educate yourself when it comes to these DMDs, disease-modifying drugs. There's oral, there's monthly, there's I'm on Rebif, which is a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I've been on it for 9 years. Has it helped me? I don't know. Has it hurt me? I don't know. You know, I do my regular blood test. Everything is fine. And where my flare-up was, girl, was last year. I was proud and privileged, Intertalk Radio and myself, Jackie's Groove. We had Mr. Al Jarreau here in my home. Could I tell you if I never sang and played another stitch of percussion, I filled my bucket list. And the reason why I brought this up because we do a lot of work with Thornton Wineries, and when all the big guests come into town, Kenny G, Michael McDonald, we interview the stars. And when Joe Gordon, Al's manager of 40 years, called the CEO and our COO and said, "Hey, how is Jackie's home?" And he said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, is it 2 stories?" And he said, "No, it's a 1-story ranch style that is handicapped accessible because Jackie has MS." And Joe goes, "Oh, good. Well, I don't mean good. But the fact is, the fact is, Al's 76 years old. We lost him on February the 12th of 2017. God rest your soul, my brother. But the fact is, Al came into my home, came through my courtyard. My wife was looking at the people, and she goes, "I don't believe it. Al effing Jarreau is walking through our courtyard." And Al had spinal stenosis, so he was using a crutch. And so I end up September 15th in the hospital, diagnosed with spinal stenosis. I called Mr. Jarreau and I said, "Al, next time you come to my home, bring me the winning lottery numbers, leave the spinal stenosis out." He laughed and he said, and if you know Al, and he goes, "Jackie, I never did such a thing." Right. The bottom line is my MS was dormant and in remission for 12 years because of my surgery and because of this horrible thing called stenosis. I ended up in the hospital for 7 weeks. I had to cancel 18 shows. I had a true exacerbation. I couldn't use Solumedrol, which is a heavy dose steroid, because it would have impeded the healing of my back. Well, thank the dear Lord above, my back is healed. The guys in the station will tell you, I'm getting back to Jackie. I'm getting my legs stronger. And my physical therapist, Teresa, and my wife, Caprice, are kicking my ass on 3 days a week to get me going. So you know what? It's going to take. Yeah, it's going to take a lot more. It's going to take a lot more to knock you into the dirt, myself, girl. And we're not ready to go right now because there's just been too many of our constituents that have been taken home way too early. And I hope they're not looking for. And I'm not going to say your age, girl, even though you and I are the same age. And in fact, you've got a birthday coming up.
I do, and I'm not ashamed of my age.
No, you're 26 years old.
Good.
Yeah, you're 26 years old. Like my wife always says, black don't crack, and my wife always says grease don't crease, being the Italian. So,
God. Black don't crack, but it does sag a little bit. I'm here to tell you.
Hey, amen, girl. I'm right there with you too.
Grease don't crease.
That's it, man. Hey, June 24th. Happy early birthday to you, girl. I mean, it's nice to be spending 25 years on this earth, and we're going to talk more about that also because we have a lot of friends. I just mentioned to you Lynn Fittimont. I mentioned to you Melanie Taylor. But let's talk about Jonathan Moffat. Let's talk about Sugarfoot, my dear friend. Let's talk about everybody that ran through the camp of Michael Jackson. And we're going to talk more about that because the bottom line is you've got to have been under a rock if you didn't grow up with either listening to me on the Anglo side, the Osmonds, or on the side of African Americans, the Jacksons.
Speaking of the Osmonds, I was pulled on stage by Donnie and Marie in Vegas last weekend. It was
at the Flamingo? Yes.
Yeah, man. They have a great show. 3 years in a row, #1 show. Amazing.
We go every year because the band, I used to work with Donnie back in 91 on a Eyes Don't Lie tour. And people, I got to tell you something out there. Good promotion on Sid's side because every time we go to Las Vegas, I'm not going to lie to you. When they, the two big screens they have, and by the way, the Tropicana is the Flamingo is one of the last old showrooms. The Donnie and Marie showroom, and it's red velvet. They have two big monitors on each side of the stage, but they do a thing where they talk about everything and all the people they hung out with and they were raised with, and the Bob Hopes and so on. And I'm not going to lie to you, I'm sitting there in tears. And the fact is, when you see this show, they both come out together. Donnie disappears, Marie comes out, great operatic voice. She disappears, Donnie comes out.
Didn't she kill you with that opera song? She studied opera. She told me later. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. She was awesome.
And she looks great. In fact, her daughter is the one that dresses her. That's her couture, and and so on. But so I highly recommend it. This is not the Donnie Marie show. This is Siedah Garrett show. So we're going to talk more about that. I recommend anybody go to see that because the band that plays with them are all my personal friends. That's how we get a chance to do. There's certain perks that we get, girl. But the only thing is, our perks we don't get is that this thing called MS is it doesn't matter who you are. If it's ready to come get you,
it's non-discriminatory. It doesn't give a damn.
And how many times did you say when you were diagnosed, I know I did, but I said, Jesus, dear Lord, what did I do in my life to be diagnosed with this? And then my answer was, who in the hell do I think I am that I didn't get this? But understand one thing important. The Annette Funicellos, the Richard Pryors, those are rare cases. Those are primary progressive diseases and so on and so forth. And we'll touch a little bit more of that because we spent the whole first segment. You see how fast it goes, girl. 50 seconds left in this. And so when we get back, we're going to get in depth. We're going to get nosy with you. We're going to talk about your achievements, your awards. And God knows there's a lot of them. And one more time, we've been proud and privileged here on Intertalk Radio to host 14 members of Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees. I've never interviewed a Academy Award nominated
twice
singer.
Oscar nominated, darling.
Honey,
yes.
Girls, stand up because I'm going to be blowing most smoke up that area right there. So you guys don't go anywhere. I am so proud. I'm so privileged to be interviewing my sister in music, my sister in MS. Shitty way to put two and two together on that, but we're going to do the best we can. So guys, don't go anywhere. Get yourself a beverage. This is Jackie Bertoni, Jackie's Groove, brought to you by Intertalk Radio Network. You're into all things music, where I am interviewing my amazing studio guest, Siedah Garrett. So guys, don't go anywhere. We'll be back with Sid and many, many more stories. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Make this your vinyl night. I'm John J.R. Robinson, and every week, music creation comes alive through stories, experiences, and sounds when vinyl records filled our hearts and minds. My friends and I share our tips and techniques used in creation of iconic tracks for recording artists such as Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, and Steve Winwood, to name a few. Vinyl has emerged hot, and the soul of vinyl defines art and passion which burns deepest at night. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on EnterTalkRadio.com.
Hey, it's Carney Wilson, and you're listening to Jackie's Groove with Jackie Bertone.
Welcome to Jackie's Groove. Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertone.
My God, that the answer is only love. And what I'm loving right now is I am in the studio right now talking to a musical sister, a girl that I've had a crush on for years.
Love. The answer is always love, no matter what the question.
Everybody, welcome back to Jackie's Groove. Welcome back, and to again, we're going to say this correctly, Siedah Garrett.
Yes.
Ooh, bravo! Hey guys. And enjoy this, man. I've got 1,000 questions from 1,000 different listeners all over the world. But I want to talk about a couple things here, girl. Let's talk about, we'll get back to the man in the mirror, which is, I love your honesty on the videos that I've seen, that you're thankful for that song because it is an iconic tune, but it also it forged your lifestyle and bought you a beautiful home. And we're going to talk about not so much the lifestyle and buying you a beautiful home, but we're going to talk to the young listeners out there about a word called publishing. And how to keep and be in control of your music and not let these bastards called the record executives try to rob you blind. And that's unfortunately that's what it is. But let's talk about Siedah for a second. Let's look at her background. She was and is an Academy Award nominated singer for an amazing song called "Love You I Do" from the Dreamgirls.
That was nominated for an Oscar for that song as a songwriter. Jennifer Hudson is the one that sang it.
And that was on the 50th annual Grammy Awards. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I know not. I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember. But whatever year the film Dreamgirls came out, that's the year that it was nominated for an Oscar.
Question I want to ask you, because my dear friend of mine, another sister with MS, Terry Garr. Do you know Terry?
Oh, I love her.
That's my girl, man.
I her so badly. I was looking for her the night of the Race to a Race, but I didn't see her that night. I've been a huge Terry Garr fan.
I'll put the two of you together, because I hope you don't mind profanity, because she's got a mouth and that it's a truck driver, and that's why these big drug companies would never let us go on the road together. Because if you so choose to use profanity, sweetheart, this is satellite. This is streaming. So if you want to use if you want to drop an F-bomb, by all means, that's up to you.
Well,
but
thank you. I think I might be done with my cursing on the airwaves days, because I did an interview the other day, and I'm not happy with the way I came off sounding. But I thought it was cute at the time, but I was very wrong. So
you know what?
I probably won't. But there you go.
I mentioned it about Terry because she will, her and I will go on stage and we'll talk to the masses, in anywhere between 200 people to 2,000 people about MS. They come to see us, people that are known in the industry, but also people that become brothers and sisters because we have the same disease, regardless of what is on your mantle in the way of awards and so on. And she, along with me, she always says this because people will come up and they'll have a Q&A, and they'll say, okay, so lady over there on the third table in the red dress, you have a question for Terry. Now, Terry is getting herself ready to talk about something MS, and the question that comes out 90% of the time is, what were you feeling when you got the notification that you were nominated for an Academy Award? And so I'm gonna break precedence there, and I'm gonna stay right on the line there. Tell my listeners and myself, when you found out that you were nominated for an Oscar, what were you feeling?
I was on cloud 5011. It was the most surreal phone call to get because the music supervisor, Randy Spendlove, called me and left a message on my phone because I guess the announcements were made very, very early in the morning. And I don't, darling, I don't rise before brunch. So anyway, I woke up to this message and my heart just started pounding like I was running a marathon, and everything started to move like a little like underwater kind of. Things started to slow down a little bit while I took it all in. It's a phone call that is, well, unless you're, Meryl Streep, you get it once or twice in a lifetime, if at all, So I don't know. It was. Do you believe in the old
adages? Even though I didn't win, it was a privilege just to be nominated. Do you believe in that?
I believe that, but it does suck not to win. Let me just let you know that. I do believe that. Yes, because that grouping, that list is a very short list indeed. So the fact that you're even on it is a testament to you're doing what you should be doing in life. You're doing the right thing. Yeah, you need to be in life. You're exactly where you need to be, and really that goes for wherever you are.
Of course it does, because I look at it. I'm not a songwriter out there. I'm a hired grunt, But thankfully, I've earned the title of being one of the top 10 guys in the industry when it comes to recording with the who's who of the industry. And I can look in my studio, and I've got walls full of platinum albums.
Let me just let you know, Jackie, that grunts don't get to be in that grouping.
Okay.
FYI.
And I was just trying to be humble, which people know, Jackie, I can be humble or not. But then the fact of the matter is, I was so against putting up all these awards on my wall. And my wife said to me, why don't you want to do that when we built our new home? And she goes, people have ugly golfing and bowling trophies. So be proud.
They're proud of, child. So you should be proud. I'm with her.
Girl, and I got to tell you, we talked about this with Zorro, the great drummer. We talked about a lot of stuff that we had in common. And, I had the privilege of hanging out in the beginning years with Al McKay, another friend I'm sure you're very, very familiar with, from Earth, Wind & Fire. When I went to his home up in off of Las Feliz, and when I walked into a home and I looked to his left, and there was this huge mantle that had more American Music Awards / Grammys / every award there. And in the guest bathroom, there were platinum albums up on the ceiling. And I walked out and I had this look on my face, and I remember he looked right at me and he goes, "Too much?" And I go, "No," but I'll never forget that. And Zorro, remember, he goes, "You painted the picture of that house." So I remember exactly what that was like. So, with all of your accomplishments and with you and your career and everything else that's been so wonderful, does it still blow you out of the water that you have accomplished what you've accomplished to this date? Are you comfortable right now where you are in your own shoes?
Yeah, because I'm doing different things, and the music business as I had known it to be does not exist anymore. So the fact that the records that you saw on Al McKay's wall, those records, they'll never be those kind of sales ever again for albums because people aren't buying albums. So it's even more of a feat to know that happened, and you have evidence of that. It's even more of a feat now than it was then, because we know that will never, ever, 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 ever happen again. No one will ever sell as many records as Michael has sold. No one will ever sell as many. There'll never be that many sales ever again because people just aren't buying albums. So
now, do you find that to be? Do you find that to be a defeatist attitude when you say it's never going to come around again? I mean, David Grohl.
I find that to be the truth. That's the truth.
Okay.
It will exist in other forms, but nobody's buying albums, man. When's the last time you bought an album?
Digital.
Unless you're a DJ.
Yeah.
So that's just the truth. I'm not, it is what it is.
No.
And I've been in this business for, oh Lord, I've been in this business for over 30 years, youngin'.
God bless.
So, it's changed significantly, and you either go with the flow or you get run over. So, and right now I'm just going with the flow. I'm finding new ways to make myself or to continue to stay relevant, trying new ways to still get my music and my message out there. I had an issue with someone. I did an interview and I told the reporter that, I grew up, had my happiest childhood memories with my grandparents in Compton. And the look on their face was like, wow, you grew up in Compton. Wow. Like how, that's like saying you grew up in Fallujah or some other war-torn part of any city under stress.
Right.
And I wanted, and the attitude was, well, you came from that and you did what you did, and how did that happen? Like, you weren't supposed to, because I came from where I came from. I really wasn't expected to amount to very much. That was a given. That I was supposed to just be the status quo, have a 9-to-5, stay out of jail. I wasn't even expected to go to or finish high school or go to college. They didn't really. I wasn't expected to be much, so no one anticipated that anything was going to happen with me. And it was because they assumed that since I was from where I was from, that I would be what I was expected to be from coming from that. And I wanted people to know that just because you're from the hood, because you're raised in the ghetto, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't, you're not going to amount to much. Where you come from does not depend on where you end up in life. And I wrote this song about ghetto. Ghetto, Ghetto. It's an acronym for greatness happens even though there's oppression. That's how I look at the word ghetto.
Love it. Can you say that again, please?
Ghetto. Ghetto. Greatness happens even though there's oppression. So I wrote this song, and I had an idea. If I could put any rapper on this record, who would it be? First on my list was Common. Mainly because I would see him in the Academy Award meetings every couple of months or so. And so I asked him, I've known him coming and going, but these meetings is the most time I've ever spent with him. So I asked him if he would do me the honor of, spitting a few bars on this track I had. And I sent him the track. He loved the track, and he came back with 12 bars that blew me away. So in this single, Ghetto, Common is featured as an artist, and it was featured on YouTube, and it has right now over 50,000 views, and it hasn't really been out that long. So I'm really, really happy. There's a lyric video. And you can understand what I mean when you see the visuals that go by as the lyric is streamed underneath. I'm really, really proud of it. And this is the kind of music that. Go ahead.
Go ahead and give the listeners again. Go to YouTube, and we're going to search what?
What do you search on YouTube? You would just search Siedah Garrett, Siedah Garrett, Garrett, and the song Ghetto, G.H.E.T.O. Greatness happens even though there's oppression.
You know,
that means something to me. I like to write songs that I would be proud to hear my nephew humming when when we're in the car, or when he's at school, or when he's on his own. I want to be proud of the things that I put out into the world. So hashtag ghetto is a state of mind. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Doesn't matter where you come from.
Love, I was, I'm an Italian Armenian, and I was born and raised in East Los Angeles and Whittier. Yeah, Sean Love, I'm doing best, my love. So that, I'm sorry, my Wikipedia is talking to me. And I say that because the bottom line is I think it is all bullshit. The fact is, and if I have to hear from my African American, my black brothers and sisters that the man held you down, you know what? You held yourself down. Because the stigma of being an Italian.
The man was your excuse at a certain point you have to just stop making excuses for what's going on in your life. You have to walk by your own reflection and just take a look at the person that's staring back at you. That's who you have to blame for your issues, and that's who you have to praise for your greatness.
And I say that because when I come back, I'm looking at my clock right now. So, Paul, I want to make sure if my clock is working, because I don't want to be involved with the question here with Sid and make sure I'm running out. I've got a clock that's not working correctly, but nonetheless, I want to know exactly how much longer I have, because I want to talk about, the oppression, if you will, and so on. And not so much the oppression of growing up, the oppression of the music business or the lack thereof right now. And you just said something earlier to the fact that the business is not what it used to be and probably never will be again. And I always say this on a regular basis to everybody else out there. Please listen to me and listen to this again. Take this as gospel. Stop stealing music, people. We're not doing this for our health. And the fact of the matter is, I don't come over to your office and piss on your desk and expect to get free stuff there. And I don't expect you to be pissing on our desks either. And I can rant and rave.
This is a whole generation of people who grew up not paying for music. So it really needs to be, we have to retrain ourselves. It's like if you don't know where you eat beef, but you don't know where that steak came from. If you lived on a farm, you'd have a greater appreciation for all of that. So when you see where your food comes from, you have a different view of why you're or what happens when you eat it. So if you knew the struggle, or if you were in the room the days and nights that songwriter and that musician worked on that song and hustled to get it on to an artist, and the artist put it on the radio, and it's just you would have a deeper appreciation for the work behind this song that you can buy, get for free. The digital revolution has truly transformed society and the music industry as a whole. It'll never, I hate to sound like quote unquote defeatist, but that shit will never ever be the same.
And let's delve more into that too on coming up in the third segment, because I really appreciate your opinion. I have a lot of great guys and girls in the industry that we've been around as long as we have, and it's been a mixed emotion. So we're going to talk about that when we come back on segment number 3. Guys, Jackie Bertoni, Jackie's Groove, brought to you by Intertalk Radio Network with my in-studio guest,
Siedah Garrett.
Girl. I love you, girl, because your personality, it doesn't, forget it. I'm having a great time. So with that said, guys, don't go anywhere. Segment 3 coming around the corner with Sid. Don't go anywhere, kids.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear, host of Sound Experience here on Intertalk Radio. And Source Connect by Source Element is the essential tool that we use to link between my studio in Austin, Texas, and the WS radio station in San Diego. Now, with Source Connect, not only can we communicate in real time and with HD audio, but it's synced up and is of a high enough quality that I can use it for real-time ADR work, remote recording, and overdubbing, and it even allows me to remotely control a DAW. Source Connect by Source Element. Affordable, high-quality audio and video connection over the internet for all of your production needs.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Make this your vinyl night. I'm John J.R. Robinson, and every week, music creation comes alive through stories, experiences, and sounds when vinyl records filled our hearts and minds. My friends and I share our tips and techniques used in creation of iconic tracks for recording artists such as Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, and Steve Winwood, to name a few. Vinyl has emerged hot, and the soul of vinyl defines art and passion which burns deepest at night. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on intertalkradio.com.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Hi, this is Shelly Sondheim, President and CEO of CSM Words and Music. You're listening to Jackie's Groove with Jackie Bertone.
Welcome to Jackie's Groove. Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertone.
Welcome back to segment number 3. This is Jackie Bertone, Jackie's Groove, brought to you by Intertalk Radio Network. You're into all things music. You guys, do me a quick favor. When you can't listen to Jackie's Groove or the plethora of shows on our network, do yourselves a favor and us a favor and go onto iTunes or Google Play and download our easy-to-use and navigate application. 2 words. First is Intertalk. Second is radio. So you can take Jackie and Intertalk Radio on the move and on the go with you. And so with that said, let's talk about that amazing song we just heard. We talked about it last time, called Ghetto, and that featured. We didn't hear him on that little snippet there. Common. I got to ask you a question, girl. And welcome back, everybody, and welcome back, Siedah, back to the show. Go ahead, girl. Scream your name out, girl, like you always do. I love it.
Siedah Garrett, honey. Siedah.
Now, as a musician, talk to me about the musicians on that track.
Well, the main musician is my co-writer, Michael Fish Herring, who's like my favorite guitar player in the world. He's an amazing musician. Wait a minute, hold on. What? Ghetto? Who? I'm sorry. Who? I'm sorry. I got confused. Fish only did some playing on Ghetto. Right. Ghetto was co-written by an artist named Major Ali, Major Ali, and he sent me the track. And also a guy named Tim Bosky is a co-writer on that. Sent me the track, and I wrote this, and then Fish put some guitar on it, and I got confused. I'm sorry, but yeah. And it came out just a couple of weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I'm really proud that this is the message that I'm putting out into the world, rather than something like bitch better have my money. It's a good message, but it's just not my message. Not my message.
Sid, let me ask you this question, girl. Let's step back for a quick second. Let's talk about your upbringing. Let's say I use this kind of a little photo here. If I'm walking down the street of the Garrett household, and I come up to your door and I knock on the door, and of course you're going to open it, you're going to say, who the fuck is this? But you're going to look at me and go, yes, can I help you? when I come into your home, what music am I hearing coming out of that console speakers out of your parents' home? How were you raised?
Okay, first of all, if you came up to my house and knocked on the door, my sister and I would automatically freeze, because that's what we were taught to do whenever there was a knock at the door, because it was usually bill collector. So and you would never get in because we would never open the door for anybody. So, but the thing my mother used to play was, of the era, 60s, 70s, pop music, basically. Mm-hmm. And she and her twin sister and her younger sister were in a group, and they were trying to have success when the Supremes were having their success, and they called themselves the Other Three. So I just remember them rehearsing and practicing, and it was all, now that I think about it, it was all pop music. And, because there was a lot of black music being played on pop radio, because that was the only radio, So, we grew up with, go ahead.
No, I'm saying I love it because, growing up back in the days that we grew up, you had a radio station, you turned it on, and 1 minute you're listening to the Beatles, next minute you were listening to Engelbert Humperdinck, and there was no genre stations
Wonder.
out there.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. That's how it was in London until very recently. When I was in London working with the brand new Heavies, I lived there for almost 2 years, and what I distinctly remember, and it was so blatant, that I would turn the radio on and you would hear Michael Jackson, and then you'd hear the Eagles, and then you'd hear Diana Ross, and then you'd hear, no matter what age, if they had a current record or not, they would just play a serious mix of artists. So you were exposed to artists that you wouldn't ordinarily turn the station on to listen to. And I loved that about living in London, 20 years ago.
You just mentioned the brand new Heavies. My wife's ringtone when she calls my cell phone is a song called "Dream On Dreamer." One of the most, and that's our favorite song. And so when that phone rings, I know that's her calling in. So let me ask you this question. Going back to what we're talking about itself. Now, how old were you? I'm not really going to go back years here. Did you realize the fact that you were going to be a singer? When did you start singing?
Okay, I've been singing since I can remember, because my mother would take us to different churches and then sort of push me up on stage and say, "Sing, child," and then she'd get all the praise and the attention. "Your daughter is sure can sing. How old is she? She sure can sing." That my mother was all about that. But I didn't really decide about what to do with my singing until my mom kind of was a wallpaper hanger and a decorator, and she was doing the home of an R&B singer named DJ Rogers. And she was telling DJ that, my daughter can sing. And DJ was like, "Yeah, your daughter, my housekeeper's son, my plumber's niece, everybody in his sphere can sing." And he said, it was just like, no. And my mother was super insistent. So he said, "All right, bring her. And I'm telling you, Doris, if she can't sing, I don't want to hear nothing else about it." And my mother agreed. So I went to his house, and he sat me next to his at a grand piano, played a couple of riffs, and said, "Sing this." And I sang it, and he was like kind of surprised that I did. And then he said, "We'll sing this," and he played something else, and I sang that, and he literally pushed me off the end of the bench, and he was like, "I can," and then stood up and threw his hands up. So the next thing I know, I'm on a recording session with I forget who the women are. I need to find this out. But it was DJ Rogers' album after the "Say You Love Me," the huge hit "Say You Love Me." And it was two amazingly talented background singers and me. I took the place of one of them that didn't show up. And all I heard was amazing harmonies we were doing, and the blending of our voices and the richness of our tones together. I was on cloud 9. So I went home. I was as happy as I could possibly be. I had so much fun that day, the music and the singers and the camaraderie, and it was wonderful. And then 3 weeks later, I got a check. And I was like, "Oh, hell yeah." This is what I want to do. So that's when the bug hit me. I was 16 years old.
And that's a cool question, because I'm glad you led up to that, because, we always talk about, especially living in California, people, I mean, our show is worldwide, but in Southern California alone and in Northern California, our venues smaller venues, jazz clubs, and so on are falling off like dead flies.
Yeah.
We don't understand it. I mean, you kind of want to blame the economy, but the fact of the matter, there's only a few out there, like Vitalos, and so on, and also the baked potato. And to go out there and go into a small club like Catalina Jazz Bar and Grill, to walk in there and find out that Siedah is going to be playing there. I'm going to go see October 11th. I'm going to go see my good friend of mine, Julia Fordham, is playing there. Just see somebody in a small venue, so that you're up close. And basically, like Al Jarreau said to us, he loves the 20,000 seat, Montreux Jazz Festival, but he'd rather be in front of a 200 seat club where he can lean over and say, "Lady in the beautiful blue dress, and let me sweat on your husband's blue suede shoes." And he goes, I want to be so close that I can hear them breathe. So with that said, let me ask Sid, do you prefer, because I know you've played in huge venues, and God knows of sitting in with Michael Jackson, and over the years of joining him on stage with Man in the Mirror, do you prefer a huge audience, or are you more comfortable and at home in a small venue?
Well, I don't really like crowds. And touring with Michael was exceptional because the crowds were enormous, 80, 90, 100,000, not even seats. We filled soccer stadiums, standing room only. It was crazy. So it's a completely different, it's a different animal entirely. I just think that my preference would definitely be a smaller, more intimate audience. But I also like reaching out and touching as many people as I can with my music at one time. There's something special about that too. So it's like 6 in one, half a dozen in the other. I like it all. I just like. And I
want to share with the industry also too. Guys, do yourselves a favor. As soon as you jump in here, there's a great video on YouTube with Siedah. Where you're sitting with a piano player in somebody's home. I don't know whose home that is, but you had probably a guest of about 25 people.
Yeah.
And you were singing naked and raw, not physically, but your voice with Man in the Mirror. Yeah. My wife and I played that on a loop over and over again. And just your explanation, as you're doing right now, I love the fact that, go ahead.
That is so crazy. Okay, I was in Shanghai at a party. And John B. was in Shanghai at the same time, and we'd done some kind of thing with MTV or something earlier that day. And we were at the home of a good friend of mine, Yusai Khan. And we just, it was an impromptu thing. He decided he was going to play, and I just started singing, and someone pulled out their phone. This was before people were recording their entire lives for every reason. And, they took a breath and I need to record it. Anyway, this guy just sort of pulled out his phone and started recording. And I didn't think anything of it because I didn't think it would go anywhere. Child, everywhere I go, people tell me about this particular version of Man in the Mirror that they happen to have found on the internet. It's crazy. But yeah, that was like an impromptu thing at somebody's house party, and it became my signature on YouTube, I guess. Crazy.
And what's crazy also, we just mentioned something a little while ago about the music that was, how you would not allow me in the house. I think that's kind of racist, to be honest with you, but that's okay. We'll talk about that later.
No, not just you, honey. Anybody, because you could have been a bill collector. We were talking.
But let me tell you, girl, I love the fact that there's a great little video that I saw when you were on the panel with Oprah Winfrey, and you were sitting back. The camera didn't come off of you just because of the ultimate beauty of your face, but she had said something to me, and said something to you, and you responded by, I don't know what I'm doing up here with these people. That to me was the most humble thing you could have said. Why did you feel that you were out of place and you were not deserving to be on that panel of guests?
Did you see who was on that panel? Okay, first of all, the subject matter was, the topic of the show was people who exude sex, right? Okay, it was Andre Agassi, some amazing race car driver, the actress from Twin Peaks, and this bombshell blonde Playboy bunny who thought she was the reincarnation of Marilyn Monroe. Anyway, she wasn't. Anyway, and I was like, what am I doing up here?
I don't know if you were looking in the mirror, girl, but I mean, to this day, you're breathtaking. I got to tell you that my wife said to me, she goes, "Look at her hair." You know, my wife's a makeup artist, and so she goes, "I would love to squeeze that face and just to, and she goes, I don't know if her skin is dark, if it's caramel, if it's mocha, and so on." And my wife always finds an African American woman's face the most challenging when it comes to applying makeup and so on.
Yep.
She's done a lot. And so again, we'll
you
talk
know
about that too.
With black people,
you dig?
Because our skin is different. It's a different technique. It's a different tone. Tonally, we're completely different. And if you're not used to doing it, you don't get it right. And I've had a couple of major mishaps in that arena recently.
I can't imagine that happening at all. But, I want to find one thing here, which I love. Think back for a second, because I just think it's, once again, your humbleness that exudes from your body. Way back when you went into the studio to record "Man in the Mirror" with Michael, when I read something somewhere that it said the fact is when you walked in, there was 2 music stands, and on the music sheet music, one said Siedah, the other one said Michael, and you got very, very intimidated by that. I would think that you would just be blown out of the water that you were in a studio looking face to face with this icon. Why were you nervous? And I know it may sound like a naive question, but why were you nervous?
Because it was Michael freaking Jackson, who, unbeknownst to him, was my husband since I was 13 years old, okay?
I love it.
So in my mind, I'm in the studio with my husband, let alone as the Michael Jackson, king of pop, biggest artist on the planet,
right.
within arm's reach. It was crazy. The mic stand had two mic stands facing each other, and the music sheet said, I didn't know the name of the song at the time, but it was "I Just Can't Stop Loving You." First verse, Michael. Second verse, Siedah. Chorus, Michael and Siedah. And that's when I knew I was singing a duet with the king of pop. It's just one of those moments that you will like. Finding out you've been nominated for an Oscar, the biggest award in the movie business ever. I mean, I think, let me just say, Grammys are wonderful, and I'm very proud of the group Grammys that I've been awarded and the Grammy that I won for Love You I Do, sung by Jennifer Hudson. I'm really, really proud of that. But I think the highest award, even before I knew anything about Grammys, were the Oscars. And so when I found out I was nominated twice, the second time was with the movie Rio with Sergio Mendes, Jamie Foxx, and Anne Hathaway and George Lopez. It was so amazing. I just couldn't believe my luck. But then there was a change in the Oscar rules, and only 2 songs were nominated that year, mine and a Muppet song. So when I heard the Muppet Man's name being called as a winner, my heart just sank. And to this day, I can't tell you if I lost to a man of a Muppet or a Muppet of a man.
You know what? Does it really matter, girl? But you're doing. You know what we're losing right now, girl? We're losing time on segment number 3. Do you see how fast this interview is moving?
Yes.
And there's 20 more years of history we got to talk about. So when we come back on segment number 4, kids, don't go anywhere. Siedah, you are killing it, girl. The feeds on our line are going crazy. So with that said, guys, don't go anywhere. We're going to come back on segment number 4 with Siedah Garrett, Jackie Bertoni, Jackie's Groove, brought to you by the Talk Radio Network. You're into all things music. Don't go anywhere, kids. We're right back after a short break.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear from Eclectica Studios. I'm a full-time mixing and recording engineer. I work with Grammy winners, labels, and indie artists, using state-of-the-art digital mixing and restoration tools and the very best in analog gear. Really, though, it's my ability to bring tracks to life and fulfill your vision for your music. This has made me sought after by producers and artists worldwide. So spend your time working on music and not chasing a mix down a rabbit hole. Go to timdolbear.com and check out our free one-song mix offer.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Hi, this is Al Di Meola, and you're listening to Jackie's Groove with Jackie Bertoni.
Welcome to Jackie's Groove. Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertoni.
Just like those words say, people, carry on. I don't care if you have MS. I don't care if you have a hangnail. I don't care what is ailing you in your system. I know a lot of very, very healthy, miserable people in my life. Mm-hmm. And the fact of the matter is, every day I get up and there's no dirt on top of me, I say to myself, I look at my wife, as you look at Eric, and you say, you know what? Fuck it. Let's carry on, man. It's going to take a lot more. It's going to take a lot more than this to knock us into the dirt. So
I know that's right. I'm here to make MS my bitch.
Baby, let me just tell you something. Terry Garr, we talked about it a long time ago. She has a great book out. I'm going to get the book to you. It's called Speed Bumps, and simply talking about what the challenges that we have. Actually, the title of that book, if you have to know Terry Garr's personality, the title of that book was originally going to start out as "Does this wheelchair make my ass look big?" But the publisher decided not to go with that title because I don't know if they got it or not. Again, too, I mean, I'm glad because I laughed at that, but it's all about her lifetime and everything else.
Make my ass look
big. Exactly.
I love that.
I was in Hawaii in 2001. I was staying at the Moana Hotel. I was taking a nap. My wife woke me up because Terry was on Larry King, and she had come out with her MS diagnosis. And, and going back to the MS situation, and it's a sad situation. It's like Lenny and Squiggy from Laverne and Shirley.
Yeah.
David. I don't remember David's last name, and the same thing too. One of the newer diagnosed stars is Jamie Lynn Sigler. She was there at the Race to Erase MS also, and I was shocked because there's a great restaurant in Las Vegas called Rayo's. It's at Caesar's Palace, and they have a big wall called the Wine Wall. And the gentleman that we just lost 3 months ago, Frank Pellegrino, the owner, he was also the FBI agent on the series Sopranos for the full 7 series. And when we met each other and the work I've done with David Chase over the years, he asked me if I would send to him a headshot So I autographed a headshot and find out that I'm on the wine wall next to Tony Bennett, Frank Sinatra, Frank Pellegrino, and Jamie Lynn Sigler. And I put that on my Facebook years ago, and I said, probably the closest I'll ever get to Jamie Lynn Sigler. Then I find out that Jamie was diagnosed last year with MS, or she came out, but she's had MS since 2000. And she had said to me that on a certain episode where she had to walk across the lawn in the backyard of the Real House of the Sopranos, and which she found it very, very difficult because her mind was telling her to walk forward, but her legs weren't cooperating with her. And the same with Terry. People thought that she was a drunk because of her stumbling and so on. And you said this earlier, 2 segments ago. The fact is that people with MS don't have a third eye growing out of the forehead. It's a silent disease, and so on, and if I'm going into a parking lot and if I know there's an open spot that's not too far away, and there's a handicap spot right there, I won't take the handicap spot because there's people that are worse off than I am. And you had asked me off the air, how is it with me in a wheelchair? The only reason it's put me in a wheelchair is because of the back surgery and then the flare up of that and so on. So I'm struggling every day. Let me rephrase that. I'm kicking its ass every day because the bottom line is, and learn this moniker, girl. You may have MS, but MS does not have you.
That's right.
And if you can lay down and say, woe is me, and play the little violin player behind you, you know what? Then wah, shame on you, girl. Because, you've got to stay in control of the situation. And it's a very uncontrollable disease. But the bottom line is if you sit there in a bubble and try to figure out what the hell's going to happen, or, is the gray karma cloud or the gray cloud of shit going to be, traveling or following you, then you're cheating yourself. So, with that said, girl, onwards and upwards. I got to ask you a question. This is my wife's question, and I love this. I ask all the heavy duties. Think about this for a second, girl. Let's get back into the music vein of it, of this whole conversation. If Siedah wasn't singing, playing piano or keys, what would you be doing right now?
I would be the world's best knitwear designer.
Elaborate.
I am an avid knitter and crocheter. In fact, I have a great story. I remember being in this little knitting circle. I don't know how I think I became friends with the owner of this knit shop, and she invited me to join this knitting circle of these women. And I remember sitting there knitting, and there was a woman next to me, and she sort of tapped me on my arm and said, "Oh, that's beautiful. What are you, what material are you knit?" No, I tapped her on the shoulder. I said, "That's beautiful. What are you knitting with? What material are you knitting with?" She said, "Oh, this is just cotton." And then she looked over at mine and she said, "What are you knitting with?" And I said, "This is cashmere." And then she said, "Oh, aren't you an uppity knitter?" I said, "Bitch, what you call me?" Anyway. This woman turned all shades of raspberry. She was so embarrassed. She said, "Knitter." I said, "Knitter."
Oh, my God. That is classic. That most ambiguous word out there. Oh man, let me get my senses about myself here. That's cracking the shit up out of me. Hey, you asked a question about fans. I do have a question that I think is the studio put it to me. There's a question by a girl by the name of Pat coming out of Lansing, Michigan. She wanted to know, what's the history behind your Balance and Dennis Edwards' Don't Look Any Further? You want to talk about that?
Okay, yeah. I was called by two amazing songwriters, Franny Goldie and Dennis Lambert, and they each have credits too lengthy to name, but they were at the Quincy Jones auditions for this group Quincy was putting together, which is how I met Quincy Jones. And since they were there, Quincy was recording an album for Patty Austin, and every songwriter in LA was writing songs for Patty Austin, and they needed demo singers. And I started singing everybody's demo because the songwriters knew that if I sang it, Quincy was going to hear it, because I was, you know, when Quincy was considering signing to this group. So I was singing everybody's demo. So I sang this demo, which was a song between Dennis Edwards and Chaka Khan. So I sang the whole demo, and then Dennis Edwards came and put his part on, and then they couldn't find Chaka. They couldn't get Dennis and Chaka in the time frame they needed before Motown was ready to release this record. So some executive said, who's singing on the demo? And somebody said Siedah Garrett. They said, fine, put her on it. That's how I got to sing on that record. And that song that you're hearing, the vocal that you hear now is my demo vocal. The producer refused to let me I thought I was going to have a chance to, really, really do it. Like really he said, no, we love this demo. We love the vocal you have on this demo, and we're going to use this demo. I'm like, okay. So that is why I tell when I'm writing a song with somebody and we go to record the demo and they say, oh, don't worry about it. It's only a demo. I hate those people. I hate them because if I thought like that, I wouldn't have been on this single because I would have said, it's just a demo. I don't have to do my best vocal,
I'm going to share something with you because, you can be Siedah Garrett, but it doesn't mean you know everything, and Jackie also, but you probably do.
Who said?
But we have mutual friends here, and you just mentioned a girl by the name of Chaka Khan, and I have a personal friend of mine, a personal friend of yours by the name of Mr. J.R. Robinson, most recorded drummer in the history of music. Who started out with that. So I don't know if I'm supposed to tell this. I'm going to tell it anyways because, damn it, it's my show. But for the listeners out there and for Miss Sid, do you know that Rufus and Chaka Khan are thinking about getting back together again?
No. Oh, my God. I wish Chaka is the reason I sing. God,
you didn't hear that from me. You didn't hear that from me, though.
Oh, my God. I hope that happens.
I mean, that is, I know.
Let me tell you, Chaka Khan is the reason I sing. And, I was in every cover band known to man, and my favorite songs to learn were Chaka and Rufus. And I was beside myself when I sang a song on Quincy Jones's Back on the Block album, a song called The Places You Find Love. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you, I sang the demo. And I went and I did the recording for Quincy, and I sang the whole song. I thought it was great. And then Quincy said to Chaka, he wanted to have her on it. So I looked at Quincy and I said, why? Anyway, I told Chaka said, when she listened to me sing the whole song, she looked at Quincy and said, why do I need to be on this? You already got her on it. And I looked at Chaka and I said the same thing to him. Why you need her on it when you got me? And we just cracked up. But that was my dream come true to do a duet with Chaka Khan.
And it's funny when and when you mention Q, because John JR speaks of him highly because that's his man and vice versa. But to me, every time the first time I met Q years ago, I swear to you, Q has just got such a vibe about himself, but he also has got that kind of voice like Sammy Davis Jr. when he's talking. I just love that because he's always talking, man. You want to and so on. And with that said, a lot of listeners want to know: is Q an easy person to work with, or is he a tyrant?
Oh, you can't be a tyrant and get the best that you want out of an artist. You have to be like a pimp, like a player. You got to know how to work, massage it. You get more with honey than you do vinegar. So Quincy is the honey man. And when you're in his presence, because of who he is, because he has such an amazing pedigree, because he's been relevant for 6 decades since he started playing at 14, he's been relevant every decade since, you want to give the man your best. So he doesn't really have to do much but say, okay, we're recording, hit it. And then you pour out the best that you can do because you want to impress this man with all that he's done and all that he's seen and all that he knows. And that's the reason why you're even in the room with him.
If you are in that room there's a reason why you're in that room also. And said, I'm going to throw something at you right now because I just want you to move your feet right now because this is what I'm talking about, Rufus and Chaka Khan. Do you remember this tune? Check this out. Hopefully it'll be coming up here momentarily. Oh, I guess it didn't. Okay, so screw it.
Did it tell me something good?
No, it was. I'm not going to give a spoiler on that, but it was Once You Get Started, one of my favorite tunes by them all together. But it's irrelevant. Going back to Q, were there again? Another question too. Were there, and you don't have to mention names, but were there other big boys out there, big girls out there that you found it if you didn't have to work with them again that was okay with you?
Oh God, yes. Lord have mercy, yes. And then there are also the complete opposite, like people I can't it was such an amazing experience. I can't wait for an opportunity to work with them again. So,
right. As
in life, it's 6 in one, half a dozen the other. You can't have one without the other. And the bad ones make you really appreciate the ones that are magical and that work seamlessly and that you can't wait to get back to.
Yeah, man, because I look at it, I mean, I can't imagine anybody being rude to you. I mean, right now, the studio right now, the CEO is going, he's texting me, he's going, why can't every interview be like this? And I just responded back, I said, because it can't. There's only one Sid and out there. You know, and I want to ask you a question.
And we can all rest a little easy in that knowledge.
from your lips to God's ears. You know, and I want to ask a personal question because I've intertwined with you on these guests. But let's talk about, some of the most notable. We talked about working with Jennifer Hudson. We talked about MJ, Michael Jackson, Madonna, Quincy Jones, brand new Heavies, and Donna Summer. How beautiful in person was, and friends of mine have gone through her camp as musicians. Is it true she's just that wonderful of a woman, or was wonderful woman?
Donna?
Yes.
Yeah, she was she was my sister from another mister. Okay. And I love the fact that she named her daughter Brooklyn Summer. Who does that? I love her for that.
I love that.
She was just warm and, she didn't take herself too seriously. And she had such an amazing tone in her voice. She was lovely. I really love her. You talk about longevity. You talk about, I talk about this on a regular basis, how the music business is different. But you know what? The music that's been recorded, the music that's on vinyl, that will be here for decades when we're gone. There's a reason why in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's 2017 induction, groups like Journey, groups like Eddie Vedder and Pearl Jam. We just lost Chris Cornell, from Soundgarden and Audioslave. The reason why these old farts, and I will put you in that contact, and I also. The reason why we stay relevant is because I am, girl. I am, and I'm saying that because good music never dies, and you still think about it. Look at our friends. Look at Styx. Look at Journey. Look at all these bands, REO Speedwagon, that are still selling 19,000-seat arenas out. There's a reason for it. And let me ask you a question for a girl that's only 25 years old. Let me find her.
There you go. What do you equate? What do you equate the longevity? What do you equate? What's kept you relevant in this industry after all these years? What's keeping you on top?
Okay. Well, when I realized that it might not be in the cards for me to be a recording artist in my own right, I became like one of LA's most wanted background singers. Okay. And from 2000 to the very beginning of 2016, 16 years, I was the voice of Toyota for Southern California. Now at your Toyota dealer, you can get a great deal on a 2016, that was me for 16 years. So I think I try to live my life by that book. Do you remember that book, Who Moved My Cheese?
No.
Well, in short, the Reader's Digest version were these two little mice. Every day they would get up, get dressed, go to work, go outside the maze and go to this one spot where they knew there was cheese. Every day, same thing, get up, get dressed, go to work, and go get your cheese. One day, they got up, got dressed, they went to where the cheese was, and there was no more cheese. So the one mouse, since he sees there's got to be some cheese there, he just kept going every day, kept going back to where there was no cheese. The other mouse sought out some new cheese. Okay.
Said I gotta interrupt you right now, girl. I gotta interrupt you because we're coming out of this damn fucking segment. I'm sorry. Stay with that cheese thought, okay? We're gonna come back from segment number 5 because you can never get enough cheese. Hey guys, Siedah Garrett, Jackie Bertoni, Jackie's Groove Intertalk Radio Network. Stories abounding, man. Don't go anywhere. Segment number 5 coming around the corner. And the word is say cheese.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Make this your vinyl night. I'm John J.R. Robinson, and every week, music creation comes alive through stories, experiences, and sounds when vinyl records filled our hearts and minds. My friends and I share our tips and techniques used in creation of iconic tracks for recording artists such as Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, and Steve Winwood, to name a few. Vinyl has emerged hot, and the soul of vinyl defines art and passion which burns deepest at night. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on intertalkradio.com.
Hey, it's Carney Wilson, and you're listening to Jackie's Groove with Jackie Bertone.
Welcome to Jackie's Groove. Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertone.
Preach it, girl. Preach it. Hey, everybody. Jackie Bertone, Jackie's Groove, Intertalk Radio Network, here into all things music. Say, to give me a quick second, I want to say hello to all of our sponsors who make this crazy thing called the music business, my radio station. So, with that said, to McKelvin Lee and all the boys and girls at Pitbull Audio, pitbullaudio.com, where they just want you to play it loud, one of our biggest sponsors. And also want to say hi to another company that really puts their money behind us also, someone I'm sure that Sid is familiar with, our good friends at Studio Instrument Rentals, sir-usa.com. For all of your for all your background needs and all of your rehearsal studio needs, and also people I'm biased to. My drumstick company of 23 years, Vater Percussion, that's vater.com. Thank you, boys. And also to Sabian Cymbals, who I've been playing for 23 years, and that's sabian.com. People I'm really, really biased to, our newest sponsors, which is DW Drum Workshop, and that's Don Lombardi and also John Good, and it's dwdrums.com. Thank you. And the company I am definitely most biased to, LP Music Group, that's lpmusic.com. My percussion choice for 27 years. Thank you, people, for putting your best foot forward. Derek and Jerry and Terry, love you guys. So with that said, the bills are paid. Cha-ching, we're done. And let's move back. You know, there's a question here. I'm just going to go back to this story that I'm cracking up. And my wife even said to me, I can't believe you don't know that story. Who moved the cheese? Pick up where we left off on that about the little mice and take it from the top.
Yeah, who moved my cheese? In the short version is, or my synopsis of the story is, there were these two little mice who made it their business to get up, get dressed, and walk through the maze straight to the place where they know that they can get cheese. And every day they would have this routine: get up, get dressed, and go to the maze. Get up, get dressed, go to the maze. One day they got up, they got dressed, and they went to the maze, and what? No cheese. So one mouse just couldn't believe that, you know, there's got to be cheese there. So every day he continued to get up, get dressed, and go to the same spot, and no cheese. Get up, get dressed, no cheese. No. The other mouse started to look for some new cheese. That is what I've done when I realized that I probably won't be the artist that I thought in my mind that I would be, because I just knew I was Beyonce, and before that I knew I was Madonna. So when that didn't happen for me, it was either roll over and die, or or go back to the insurance company. Neither of which were an option for me. So I decided to take my other talents and find a way to use them in the music business. My songwriting talents, my voiceover talents, doing background singing, everything that I could do and still be in this business, still have a part to play in the music business. It's just not what I thought it was going to be. So I go, I go where it is. If it's not here, I'm going to go somewhere else. Simple as that. I'm not married to the fact that I probably won't have a big record deal. I'm not married to the fact that I probably won't, sell out soccer stadiums like Michael Jackson. I'm good with that. So I got to find out that must not be what I'm meant to do. So I am seeking happiness. I'm doing whatever makes me happy at this point, actually. And I just told my husband the other day, we met somebody who, an amazing man named Charles Mully, who was, long story short, was an orphaned at 6 years old, starving, living in Africa, begging for food every day and stealing to buy food to eat. 6 years old, fending for himself. He went from that to a multimillionaire, and then he would still walk the streets where he was begging for food and see boys that looked just like him. He saw himself. So he sold everything he had, to his wife's chagrin, and started living and working only for the children, which made him the happiest. So I want to be like him. I want to do things. I want to live to do things to serve other people and to make myself happy. That's really all it's about. Life is about being as happy as you can be. That's my job, to be the happiest that I can be every day. Secondly, I'm a songwriter, a musician. Everything else is second, third, fourth in the order in my life. First, how long have you and Eric, make myself a happy human.
How long have you and Eric been married?
We've only been married for 2 years, but we've known each other for 7.
God bless. I'm going on 34 years. So if they get what yes, sweetheart.
Where do you
If Eric,
keep the Purple Heart, honey? I need to know. No. Ask your wife, where does she keep the Purple Heart?
Honey, let me just tell you something, and I will, because Eric had to double think, and my wife had to double think what they were getting involved in. Because let me tell you something. We are some strange fucking people, entertainers, True. And I'll be the first one to say it. And especially you, I want to point my finger at you because you're a vocalist, and I haven't met a vocalist yet that isn't on the straight and narrow. And I say that with tongue in cheek.
Cray-cray. Yeah, we're kind of cray-cray. It's a necessity. It's a job requirement.
Absolutely. And I want to ask you a question. I want you to be honest with me as you've been all this time. Look at your catalog of Sid's music. What is your favorite song that you've ever penned or sang?
It's got to be Man in the Mirror, because it's the song that's changed my life the most, and from what I've been told, it's changed the lives of so many others, and it's the one that means the most to me as far as the subject matter. The song is everything. It's the song that introduced me to the world as a songwriter. It introduced me to Michael Jackson as a singer, which he then decided he wanted to do a duet with me after having heard me sing on the demo on Man in the Mirror. The song is a pivotal creation in my life, and I think this song has altered my life course. And I think without it, I don't think I would be talking to you right now, because I don't know, probably some filing somewhere saying, well, Mr. Jones or Mr. Smith, can I file it for you?
Can I ask you a favor for my millions of listeners out there?
Go for it.
And if it's okay with licensing and so on and so forth, could you just give me one little part of Man in the Mirror a cappella?
I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. And no message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, so take a look at yourself and then make a change.
I love you, girl. Thank you so much. And it's a two-part question because I'm going to ask you another part of this question. I ask everybody because I've experienced this my first time, and I want you to think back because this never gets old. Think about where you were, what you were doing, and what song it was the first time you heard Siedah on the radio. What song was that took your heart away?
It would have to be, when I was a kid, the first 2 records I ever bought, I was so excited. They were 45s and they were 45 cents, right? It was Michael Jackson's Corner of the Sky and Stevie Wonder's Don't You Worry About a Thing. So I would have to say those 2 records sort of got me into this business of music, or the interest in music as a human. It was food for my soul at the time, I thought.
So no, those were that was not, again, I'm going to repeat that again. So the song that you heard yourself on the radio.
Oh, heard me singing? Oh, it would have to be Dennis Edwards. Don't look any further.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And what were you feeling? Did you want to roll the windows down and scream to the world, "Hey, everybody, that's me"?
I was on the freeway, child. I had to get off the freeway. And then I pulled over and just turned it up and just blasted. And I couldn't believe it. And then the first thing I wanted to do is go home and call somebody and tell them, "Did you hear me on the radio? Did you hear me on the radio?" It was crazy.
Yeah, because I remember it was yesterday. It was back in '91. I did a song and an album with Michael McDonald and Henry Capono. And the song was called Same World, and it's still one of the most prolific songs out right now, especially in today's barometer of shit that we're going through. But I was at Fashion Island, Newport Beach, ready to pick my wife up, and the song came on, Talia, actually, from The Wave. It was actually Cute 102 back then, and I cried. I was in absolute utter tears, even though it wasn't my song. I was the percussionist on that. And then, again, I said it before, everybody I talked to, it says it never gets old, and I have to agree with that. And I also want to know, I'm going to throw something here to you also, and I want you to think about this. With the exception of Jackie Bertoni, who's the coolest artist you've ever met? Hello, bravo. Speak on it, girl.
You're funny. It's a tie, actually. It's Michael Jackson and Prince.
Really?
Yeah. Sorry, now, Jackie.
No, sweetheart, please. Did you get a chance? Now, again, my dearest friends have all gone through the camp of Prince. Uh-huh. I mean, even down to my girl. My last one I did an interview with was Rhonda Smith, and that was an amazing interview because spending 3.5 hours in Las Vegas with Sugarfoot. My wife had asked him a question. We were having dinner at Benihana's after his gig with Cameo. Word up, and. My wife had said, because I don't do any pre-interviews. I don't like it. I don't like anything scripted. But my wife had asked the question after 3 hours of dinner. She looked at Sugarfoot and she said, "I have to ask you a question." He goes, "Yes, sweetheart." And she goes, "Do you remember where you were the day that Michael died?" And there was another hour in the conversation, and he gave us minute by minute by minute of what happened. He also clarified something I've always believed in, and I'm not going to get on the soapbox, but for all of these motherfuckers out there that falsely accused him, your day will come. I mean, that's all I'm going to say, and I'll say 1,000 things. But the fact is, I've only met the Jacksons from, stage wise. I've been in concerts, and so I never had the honor of meeting Michael. With that said, everybody who knows Michael has said one thing. He's the most beautiful human being that you'll ever meet. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, he was so special. He was otherworldly, that man. He could take the best of an artist that he respected and whose work ethic he could respond to and agree with, and he would take the best of what they did and incorporate it into his own act. He loved Fred Astaire. I see a lot of Fred Astaire in like Smooth Criminal and other videos like that. He loved James Brown. I see a lot of James Brown and the stuff that Michael did up until the day he died. You could just tell the essence of what he thoroughly enjoyed, and he told me that's the reason why I'm singing with him. He just loved the sound of my voice. He loved the tone of my voice, and he loved the song "Man in the Mirror." Those were the first 2 things he ever said to me before I even met him. So I can appreciate anybody who takes, I mean, the good, how's the saying go? We borrow from the best, steal from the best, only steal from the best. Well, that was Michael's motto in every way. He would take the best of whatever someone was doing and just make it his own and just put his little thing on it. And it became his. And to the point where you almost didn't recognize it in anybody else but him. So I hope I answered your question.
No, you did, because Sugarfoot said one thing, and he said, on the movie, This Is It. Girl, I have some stories I can share with you, but I'm not going to do it online. But the fact of the matter is, from being close to Jonathan and so on, he had said the fact that Michael was healthier at the filming of that motion picture than kids that were half his age. Mm-hmm. And so all this other bullshit that's out there floating around the marketplace, the dichotomy between Michael being the sweetest guy, and I know dearest friends that have been, with the band of Prince. Yeah. I've had many opportunities to be in the same room with Prince and so on. And when you're in a room with him, you're obviously in that room because you belong in that room. It's not a meet and greet and so on and so forth. So I never saw the Crazy Prince. I only saw, actually saw Prince on Arsenio. It was one of his last TV performances when Arsenio's, before the second show went off the air. We were there front and center and watched this man where he took over Sunset Bronson Studios and chandeliers and the like and so on. The question I wanted to ask you about these great singers that you've been associated with, is there or does Siedah have a bucket list, dead or alive?
Prince would definitely be on it, most definitely. And I think Brenda Russell kind of wrote the song that sort of channels my vibe in that regard. I want to have, what does it say? I want to have dinner with Gershwin. I want to watch Rembrandt sketch. I want to do theory with Curie. I don't remember the rest, but that's kind of like my vibe. I would love to sit, at the knee of Da Vinci or Michelangelo or I don't know.
Hypnus.
I don't know.
That's amazing. And this whole interview is about, we can only feed into your greatness, and I'll use that term, underlined, bold, italicized, the greatness of you. But what above and beyond anything at all, I'm just telling you right now personally as someone who doesn't know you personally, but I feel like I've known you, from the beginning of this all my life. I love your personality, girl. What's going to keep you through and keep you moving through this thing called MS is your voice, is your heart, is your support system around you. I don't want you to wake up every morning. You haven't done it in the last 5 years. And please, for the many more years that God gives you on this planet, just, it's Siedah Garrett and MS. It's not going to be that first name, then your name. And you're going to be fine.
It can just be my name, and you can leave the MS part off of it.
Amen.
See,
Amen.
I am not MS. You know what I'm saying?
I dig.
So I really contemplated coming out or not because of that. But I think giving voice to those who can't speak for themselves because of the platform that I am privy to, I'm happy to do that if it helps. And I've heard it is helping.
Trust me, it's helping. Again, if it only helps one person, then it's worth the war. And
we should all carry on no matter what our issue is. If it's depression, if it's obesity, if it's cancer, if it's mood swings, whatever it is, you should just be your best self regardless, and just carry on. This too will pass, my friend.
Yes, and I want to say what's going to pass is this last segment. You know what we're going to do on this segment number 6? We're going to make segment number 6 all about your promotion, all about your social media, how we are going to stalk Siedah Garrett. So with that said, guys, don't go anywhere. We're going to keep her relevant for many years to come. And the relevance right now is this Jackie Bertoni, Jackie's Groove, brought to Intertalk Radio Network, into all things music, with my in-studio guest, the girl I love, Siedah Garrett. Guys, don't go anywhere. Segment number 6, we're going to reel it all in. Don't go.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear, host of Sound Experiment. experience here on Intertalk Radio. And Source Connect by Source Element is the essential tool that we use to link between my studio in Austin, Texas and the WS radio station in San Diego. Now with Source Connect, not only can we communicate in real time and with HD audio, but it's synced up and is of a high enough quality that I can use it for real-time ADR work, remote recording and overdubbing, and it even allows me to remotely control a DAW. Source Connect by Source Element. Affordable, high-quality audio and video connection over the internet for all of your production needs.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Make this your vinyl night. I'm John J.R. Robinson, and every week, music creation comes alive through stories, experiences, and sounds when vinyl records filled our hearts and minds. My friends and I share our tips and techniques used in creation of iconic tracks for recording artists such as Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, and Steve Winwood, to name a few. Vinyl has emerged hot, and the soul of vinyl defines art and passion which burns deepest at night. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on intertalkradio.com.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Hi, this is Shelly Sondheim, President and CEO of CSM Words and Music. You're listening to Jackie's Groove with Jackie Bertoni.
Welcome to Jackie's Groove. Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertoni.
That voice is the voice of a living angel. That voice is from my in-studio guest, Siedah Garrett. I love it, girl. Hey, guys, segment number 6, last segment of a 2-hour interview that's gone by in 5 minutes. This is Jackie Bertoni. I'm going to pound that through your head and through Intertalk Radio and Network. You're into all things music and Jackie's Groove. So with that said, guys, you know what? They always say, the old saying is, it takes a village, right, Siedah? I mean, it takes a village to make things happen. And the village that I come from is a small village in the Philippines, and the village is called Florentino Buenaventura. He's a bass player, and he's also the CEO of this network. So, Florentino, do me a favor. Say hi to Siedah. Florentino.
How you doing, girl? How you doing?
Florentino Buenaventura. Nice to say your name. It just rolls off the tongue.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm not even original with that name. It's just funny. It's I'm the third. My uncle, my grandfather.
What?
Yeah. So I'm, and there's a couple of them after me too. So it's all part of this whole family. But
wow.
You know, this is not my show. This is not even Jackie's show. This is your show. And
okay.
You said your URL earlier and during the break. I was calling out for another group's URL to one of my guys over here, and we just, part of this segment, we like to tell people why we created this show, why we created this network. It's to spotlight incredible talent that doesn't always get the spotlight. In your particular case, you definitely are all about spotlight, and we appreciate you.
Never enough, darling. Never enough.
That's true. Well, for talent like yours, that is definitely the case. Everybody in the world should have a chance to hear your incredible voice and obviously your music and your songs. So with that said, tell us more. How can they find out more about you?
Go to Siedah.com, SIEDAH.com. And it has access to my Twitter page, my Instagram, my Facebook page. It's all through Siedah.com.
Wow, that makes life easier. We're usually giving out.
Make it easy for you.
Yeah, we usually give out like 5, 10, 20, whatever social media, but that actually is perfect,
give them
guys.
to you one at a time. Siedah Garrett at Twitter, Siedah Garrett at Gmail, Siedah Garrett at, no, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Follow this lady. She is amazing. I've been, since your first start with Quincy, I've been following your career, and it's a big honor to have you on the network. And like I said, that's what this network is all about, is to have and share talent with the world and really to our own community. One of the things that we have is we partner with a lot of universities, and we're actually working with some high schools now to get this next generation educated about the masters, the people who've defined the business. Because we find with the oversaturation of so much out there, when I'll bring this up. I brought a group of kids to see Stanley Clarke. We had Stanley Clarke on Jackie's show, and these kids, are bass players. They didn't know who Stanley was.
Wow, sad, isn't it?
It's like, really? That you don't know who Stanley? They knew he's a great bass player because we told him he was.
Yeah.
When they experienced it, it was a whole other different thing. And so, we've got talented young artists that we work with as well, and we're trying to bridge that. We're trying to bridge the young generation and the generation that mastered it. So, I really appreciate you, though you're still a young lady, baby. So I'm gonna be a singer though. Yeah. So with that said, we really appreciate you, Jackie. You've had such a great interview. I don't want to take up any more of the time that you've had, and enjoy the rest of the interview because I know I will.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Sid, let me ask you a question, sweetheart.
Go for it.
I asked you earlier before we started this whole situation, and I want to kind of get a cross section of all of the yo cats or yo kittens in this case in the industry that I've had the pleasure of interviewing. And majority of them are your friends. With that said, what is your feelings? Is Siedah, is she optimistic? Is she pessimistic about the music business or the lack thereof? Share with us, would you?
I think it's changing. I think it's the music business is in serious flux. I don't think the dust has yet settled on how we are going to be able to create music and have a songwriter be able to earn a decent living doing it. It's not going to be like it was, but it can't stay the way it is. And I know the things are changing, but it's like trying to, turn a ship. It won't turn on a dime. So it's going to take some time and energy, but we're moving in the right direction, back to closer to where we were as far as compensating musicians for the work that they do, musicians and songwriters.
And I think that's a good answer. Great answer. Yes. Julia Fordham, she had said on my show that the younger generation has missed the smell of plastic being sliced off a thing called an album or a CD. And when you pull a booklet out, it's called liner notes.
Yeah.
Where you can see your contemporaries on there itself. Do you miss? I mean, again, I want to tell you something. I'm one of the very few people out there will admit it. I buy albums. I buy people that I interview. I put the money back into it, and that's just that's my soapbox. People tell me, "Why did you buy an album? I could have given you a box full of them." I said, "Because that's easy.
Right.
To buy it is to feed back in." And
this is a generation. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Go,
this
please.
Is an entire generation who's grown up not paying for the music that they listen to. So it's about slowly changing that directive, slowly changing that habit.
I want to agree with you. And I always say too, stop stealing music, people. I say it. I will stand on that soapbox. The want, a lot of digital downloads, the record labels now are giving you the option to also download the liner notes. I don't know how you were, but I knew on Record Release Tuesday, I couldn't wait to rifle through the bins at Tower Records or Virgin.
Right,
to look at and to look at CDs that I was or wasn't on, but just to open that up, have a cocktail, have a Diet Coke, whatever, and to listen to the music in my headphones or blaring on the stereo, but rifling
and
through.
Read the liner notes, man.
Who was the engineer? Oh, I didn't know Siedah was on this one. Oh, I didn't know Jackie was playing on this one. And I
used to live to see who the background singers were, man.
Trust me.
Yeah.
Trust me. So, and it's, I think it's going to take our voices out there, to make this ship that's kind of stagnant, kind of maybe move a little bit forward. Dave Grohl had said on an interview on Howard Stern that he firmly believes that in a 5-year period, there will be record stores again.
I hope so.
And I hope so too. I mean, there's 38 Tower Records that are alive and well in Japan.
I know, because they still buy music. The Japanese still buy music. They're not into downloading because I think they have a deeper appreciation for what we do as American musicians than we do.
Absolutely. And that's why a lot of labels, I have a dear friend of mine, her name is Anastasia Newkirk, one of the greatest singers out there. And her first album in the U.S. on Sony sold 7 million copies. The second album couldn't sell shit. And so they moved everything over to Europe, and of course, every album she sells is 5 million plus. And they didn't think they needed another Taylor Dayne out here because her voice is a white girl that's a very soulful voice. And I just don't think America gets it. God bless America, and I say that with tongue in cheek. But we got to keep it alive, girl. I just want to know when I receive a notification from your website that your new album is in the midst of being released or it's out in the marketplace. God damn it, girl! I'm gonna share it. I'm gonna do whatever I can with my radio show to promote that. And
you're doing it. You started by playing my new single "Ghetto," and I'm really, really happy about that. So,
and girl,
excellent.
And whatever you got coming up in, I don't care if it's just in California or if it's worldwide. People like Al Di Meola, people like Michael McDonald. These are all I'm name dropping people. Now, I also want to extend the olive branch to you and our network. If we can help promote your music, help promote your shows, anything that we can do, please reach out. It won't cost you a penny.
Thank you so much.
No, please, girl. I thank you immensely. Again, we still got plenty of time, and I just want to ask a couple more questions here from listeners out there, and the younger ones. The fact of the matter is, we are a little long in the tooth. I will say that for myself. I won't accuse you of that. But the things that we do today, as opposed to what we did 30 years ago, what does Siedah do to get her ready to go in the studio or sing live? What do you do for your throat?
Well, I hate to admit this. I do nothing.
Okay.
I do nothing. I know there's a lot of people, maybe I should, but I usually don't warm up, or I think I do my warm-ups during sound check when I'm doing both. Like I'm warming up my voice and I'm checking my mic at the same time. I don't have Michael had a regimen and a routine, that kind of warm up. I don't. Sadly.
Okay, and so
that's just me.
Let me ask you this question also. Let's go back to the live on stage. Do you prefer in-ears or are you still a wedge girl?
Wedge girl all the way. The in-ear thing, unless it's a stadium or a huge venue, it sort of takes the soul out of it for me.
I agree. 100% I agree. And let me ask you this question. If I was to hijack your music library, your iPod, your iPhone, or whatever, your tablet, what am I going to hear in rotation on Siedah's playlist?
I usually just listen to my songs, new songs that I've written, because I don't, when I'm writing, I have to stay away from the radio because melodies sink in and then I think they're mine and then I use them on a record and then I get sued, so I can't. That's happened. So I can't listen to the radio while I'm writing. And these days I'm always writing for a film project or a television thing or, so I usually just listen to the music that I've written for other things and the latest demos that I've written. God, I sound like I'm so into myself.
No, sweetheart, please. Yourself is what made yourself. And I want to say something about. So you are now part of the artist series. Florentino hates when I say that, because but there's two types of musicians. There's me, and we are the gentlemen and girls below the marquee, the name below the marquee. Then there's the Siedas, and then there's the Michael McDonald's, and then there's the Arnel Pinadas, and coming up, hopefully, Neil Schon, all these big names above that. But we cater to all itself. And if you know of anybody below or above the marquee that would benefit from our worldwide notoriety, please bring them to us, my love.
Yeah.
And it's a great forum.
There's an amazing black rock singer named Kedison Kai that you really need to know about. She's like Tina Turner on steroids. She's amazing. Seriously, rock and roll artist.
I love it because we've got our feelers out there. I know Florentina's going to get pissy again, but we're very, very close to bringing in Mr. Gregory Porter.
Excellent.
And so on, because people are now understanding when they go to jackiesgroove.com, they scroll down to the episodes on demand, and they see the Ann Wilsons, they see the Andy Summers from The Police. What a prick! And I said that, and trust me, honey, you have no idea. He lost a lot of fans on my show.
Are you serious? I thought you were just kidding.
He was the ultimate prick. And Andy, if you're listening, just like your fans say, why are you such a prick? And we've got coming on Stuart Copeland, the drummer. And Stuart himself said, Jackie, we're going to have a great time. I'm not a prick. And he was in denial. So that, hey, it's on my resume. It's not going to go away from that situation. I didn't deserve it. The network didn't deserve it. But the last 20 minutes of our interview, he became my best friend. Why? I have no idea. But life goes on. So with that said, and I want to ask this question, girl. Siedah, do you understand the singers of today? I don't want to sound like our parents, but do you understand what they're doing?
They are catering to the lowest common denominator. And they have been rewarded for that. And right now that's working. I have a different plan, and I'm going to just do what I do until what I do is what the world wants again, Mm-hmm. That's all I can do. They're on a different trip than I am. And I don't, that's just not my ride. Not for me to even entertain. I can't go there. And there's no room for me there. There's no place for what I do in this current genre. I don't like I don't like referring to women as bitches and hoes, and I don't like talking about taking pills and taking drugs, and I don't like talking about that kind of stuff. That's not my lane. I stay in my lane, child. I talk about catering to your higher self. I talk about not blaming your problems on anyone else but you. I talk about self-improvement. I talk about things that I want to listen to and that I want to hear and that I want to be recording in my subconscious, not the other. And we all, just pick a song,
I couldn't agree with you more. Like my beautiful departed mother. My mama always said one thing, and I repeat this: if it's not health related, it's all bullshit. And it's so true. That whole thing, girl. And I can't tell you, I'm smiling ear to ear. Now, towards the end of the day, when Paul Brzezinski, our engineer, edits and brings this together, I'm going to send your husband the link to our interview. And listen to how beautiful you were, because I don't get a chance to listen to it until after I'm done with the show. Thank you for making us smile. I mean, that's the whole network. We couldn't be more proud and privileged by having you on here.
Well, the feeling is mutual, Mr. Jackie Bertone, and I hope to hear and meet you in person sometime soon.
Oh, honey, just hold your arms open. We'll squeeze that fucking MS out of our bodies, and we'll replace it with abundance of love. So, guys, with that said, I want everybody worldwide right now to say thank you to Siedah Garrett for blessing Jackie's Groove and Intertalk Radio Network. Girl, whatever we can do for you and Eric. And Eric, my friend, thank you so much. Take care of that beautiful woman, because understand, she is in control. We are not. and so that's been.
He knows
so,
that's
guys,
not true.
With that said, guys, we love you, man. I always say peace through music. This is Jackie Bertone. Jackie's Groove, brought to you by the Talk Radio Network. You're into all things music.
Thanks.
Love you, Siedah. Thank
Bye.
you, my girl.
Love you too, man. Bye.
Peace through music.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear from Eclectica Studios. I'm a full-time mixing and recording engineer. I work with Grammy winners, labels, and indie artists, using state-of-the-art digital mixing and restoration tools and the very best in analog gear. Really, though, it's my ability to bring tracks to life and fulfill your vision for your music. This has made me sought after by producers and artists worldwide. So spend your time working on music and not chasing a mix down a rabbit hole. Go to timdolbear.com and check out our free one-song mix offer.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.